Good evening, namaskar, and welcome to Raajneeti on MATV with Rambhat. Today we have a very special guest, but first of all, very sincere apologies for the delay due to the heavy rainfall and the traffic and everything else. Our guest could not reach the studio, so we're sorry about that. However, now we are here and about to start the program. और इससे पहले कि प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत करें आपको बता दें बल्कि आपको दिखा दें who are the main contesting parties or candidates or parties and their leaders. We're going to show you a small clip and then we'll continue. Let's have a look at the clip.
Indeed.
Bob, first of all, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and spending your precious time with us because you know you are very busy.
Well, it's a very busy time at elections
yeah.
when we are obviously out seeking the votes of the maximum number of people.
Yeah. Now, before we talk about this election and your ideas and what you're going to do and how you're going to, get voters on your side. Shall I call you Robert or Bob?
Bob Bhai is fine.
Bob Bhai, as they call you. We just want to have a look at what happened in last election in your constituency. It was 2015 and you got 24,668 votes and your opponent or nearest person who got major votes was Uma Kumaran, 19,911. She representing Labour UKIP, Adian Powell's Land, he got 2,333 votes. Liberal Democrat Rose Barlow got 1,037 votes. Green Party Emma Wallace got 846. And Tusk Nana Asante, he got 205 votes. Now, this time, you don't have so many people opposing you, I suppose. Maybe they are just given up or, I don't know, maybe they are not prepared. Because of
this is a very quick election.
Yeah, snap election, so they maybe, they are not ready. You got Naveen Shah from Labour and Liberal Democrat Adam Bernard. Now, before we talk about your constituency and,
by the way, I think there's a Green candidate. I think Emma Wallace is standing again.
Is she? Okay, so. I mean, so we were not updated. Sorry, so Emma Wallace is also now there in opposing you or, trying to get voters. First of all, all of a sudden the election was declared. Yes,
indeed.
We call it snap election. And, the way it appears, what is prompted, that it is all related to Brexit.
Indeed.
But lots of people are saying lots of things. What do you think, Bob? I mean, do you think this is all about Brexit? And were you, as a conservative person, as a member of the government, were you actually ready? Did you expect this to happen?
Well, I can tell you that I was getting ready to go back to Westminster after our Easter recess that we had. And I was getting ready on the Tuesday morning.
Right.
And my wife said to me, the Prime Minister's making a statement. And I said, well, that's one of two things. It's either she's ill and can't continue as Prime Minister, or else there's an election.
Right.
And of course, she announced the fact that it was an election. No one was expecting it.
Right.
I think we're all sort of caught unawares because there was a lot of speculation in the run-up to the recess that possibly there might be an election.
Right.
But then, of course, she really sprang a surprise by announcing it on the first day back for Parliament after the recess,
Right.
when I don't think any of the media expected it either. So quite a surprise.
Do you think it was a good?
I think I think it's a good thing to do. At the moment, we have a Conservative majority with, depending on the numbers of MPs in Parliament, only one time, but broadly speaking, a working majority of about 12. And so therefore it's quite a tight position, and other parties can disrupt proceedings. And of course, certain political parties threaten to disrupt proceedings completely. Now, we've taken the decision as a country to leave the European Union, a decision that I supported and campaigned for.
Yeah.
And what I think everyone accepts, apart from a few of the parties, Liberal Democrats, the only party that opposes the position now, that we are leaving the European Union. The British people took that decision.
Yeah.
So now we have to negotiate our way out of the European Union.
Right.
So the central issue in this election is, who do you trust to negotiate that deal against 27 countries, all the European institutions? Who is going to be at the centre of that? And that is why we put the choice of either Theresa May or Jeremy Corbyn, one of the two, will be Prime Minister.
Right.
So it's that trust issue. And the other issue, which I think is very important in this process, is we've served Article 50, which means we are leaving.
Yeah.
And at the end of 2 years, we leave.
Yeah.
Now, the key thing here is that the European Union, I think, had a strategy to try and drag out the negotiations for as long as possible to get us up against the general election, which we would be expected to have in 2020.
Yeah.
And therefore, we'd have to give concessions that we wouldn't otherwise wish to give.
Right.
Now, hopefully we get we win. That's obviously the aim of an election. We win. And we get a majority such that we can sustain our government for 5 years, in which case the European Union negotiators will not be in a position to drag out negotiations. So from the negotiating point of view, it's a very important strength.
Right. Lots of people, the way people are talking about, and people when she's out and meeting people, this may not happen to you, but what I see is, do you think it could backfire?
Well, there's always a risk. If you call an election, it's a choice. The British people have a choice.
Right.
But the central issue is, we've made, as British people, everyone I speak to, and in my constituency, it was broadly speaking 50-50, people voting to remain or to leave the European Union. But everyone I speak to says, look, we've made the decision. Whether right or wrong,
happens.
Whatever, we've made the decision. Now, it's all about who can get the best deal for Britain.
Right.
And when they're posed with that choice, they say, well, there's no choice really. It has to be Theresa, because she is by far the better able individual with her team around her to negotiate the best deal for Britain.
Now let's have a look at you as a Conservative
Always something to
member. Yeah, very, very interesting. You were a head boy in your Preston Manor High School, then you're president of University of Liverpool Students' Union, and then you joined the politics in 1986.
I became a councillor in Brent
and till 2010 you were there. So you have been a very important part of that part in the politics.
Yes.
And you are always, I think, did you always wanted to become a politician, or it was just by
I'm one of those sad individuals, I guess, that my objective always was to become a member of Parliament to help influence things for the benefit of the majority of people. In my life, you talked about it, I've always represented people.
Right.
And I think the most important thing that politicians do, or certainly I do as an MP, is represent my constituents, either in Parliament or helping and assisting them. And I have a very proud record of helping the people over the last 7 years as a Member of Parliament with 23,000 constituents. I've assisted with individual cases. I've taken 3,000 constituents on tours of the House of Commons and Lords. And I'm out and about all the time, meeting people and listening to what they have to say.
Right. There are one particular incident which was mentioned somewhere, that in last election in 2015, this allegation was actually allegation was made by Uma Kumaran that the party against her Tory party used the religion or Hindu against Hindu kind of dirty politics. What would you say about it?
Absolute rubbish. I mean, what we do, what I do, is very clear. I stand up for people.
Right.
And I speak up for people on their behalf. And that does mean that different issues affect different sections of the community.
Yeah.
And therefore, I will say, and I ask people what they want to see happen, and then I reflect what they want to see happen. So of my constituents, roughly speaking, about 40% of my constituents are Hindus.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I speak up on behalf of Hindus.
Right.
About 10% of my population are Jewish. I speak up on behalf of Jewish people. And when I have other communities as well, I speak up on their behalf.
Right.
Now, that is not being divisive.
Yeah.
It is speaking up on their behalf, covering the issues and speaking the language that they want me to take up.
Right.
And I think it's very important that other people may... I've long experience in politics.
Right.
And wherever I've been in politics, I've always talked about the issues that matter to the people that I represent.
Right.
And I think that's the key. Unfortunately, for a lot of politicians, they want you to be... A lot of people think you should be just vanilla people, just literally without character, without a view. I have very strong opinions and I voice those opinions.
Right.
And I always say to people, you may not agree with me,
Right.
but I'll tell you what I believe, and I hope you agree with me. And if you don't, you have the right to either support me or not. And I think that's very... I'm a conviction politician in that respect. I believe in things very passionately, and I will voice those views.
Did you say anything? Did you oppose it? Did you try and, defend yourself when the allegation was made? Because I'm sure that allegation was made and you're aware of it.
I'm afraid I had a dreadful campaign against me.
Right.
It's a really hateful campaign, organised by the trade unions.
Right.
Very personal and very vindictive. And I didn't hear any messages of saying, "Oh, this is awful," from the other side.
Right.
That was dreadful. I also had a hate-filled campaign against some extremist Muslims who wanted to really attack me personally in a really hateful manner.
Right.
And I think that was really horrible. It was a horrible campaign.
Right.
I rose above it, and what we did in our campaign was carried on with our positive message of what we wanted to do for people.
Right.
And I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some people regard this in some shape or form divisive when you actually say, this is what I'm going to do for you, because that's what you've asked me to do.
Right.
Well,
I was reading about you, and what I realized that you're very strong when you say something, in your opinion, and you back it up very strongly. And one particular incident is I think, same-sex marriage, which you opposed, I suppose.
Indeed.
You did. Why did you oppose it?
Well, I passionately believe from a religious perspective that marriage is between a man and a woman. I don't have a problem with other forms of relationship. That's not an issue.
Right.
And I think we'd reached a compromise whereby civil partnerships could take place between same-sex couples.
Right.
It wouldn't affect the religious aspect of marriage.
Right.
I mean, I do believe that marriage is between a man and a woman in the sight of God, whichever God you believe in. And so I do think marriage is a religious aspect as well as a civil aspect.
Right.
And I think we'd reached a compromise.
You did.
And I think unfortunately, that compromise has been upset. And I think, broadly speaking, some people, a lot of people that are religious don't like that particular problem.
And then there was something else which you did, which again, I see that you are very strong in your opinion, and you did campaign against smoking and promoting the brands and so on.
I'm chairman of the all-party group for Action on Smoking and Health.
Right.
I'm a passionate anti-smoker.
Right.
I can tell you from my background, both my parents died of cancer as a result of smoking.
Okay.
And I don't want young people to go through what I had to go through, my family had to go through. So I'm a passionate anti-smoker. So I've supported in Parliament all the measures, be it banning smoking in cars when children are present, encouraging, or in fact getting the law changed so that tobacco has to be sold in standard packs as opposed to the
flashy, yeah,
encouragement of smoking. I'm very keen to stop young people from smoking in the first place, and I do a lot of work with young people to encourage them to encourage other young people not to smoke, and also a lot of help for those people that want to give up smoking, because I think that's a very important aspect of health. I mean, one of the things that people don't know is that if you give up smoking, your lungs will recover quite quickly.
Yeah.
But if you don't give up smoking, I'm afraid tobacco is the only product in the world where if you use it as it's intended, it will kill you.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of life.
I mean, this is just going away from this entire campaign. But why not just stop people? I mean, this is like, when you, when people are, there are allegations against certain players that they part of fixing the match fixing and so on. But rather than, targeting them or punishing them, why not get hold of those who actually create this? Those who are actually involved people in fixing, match fixing. What I'm trying to say is,
we move from tobacco to match fixing.
Yeah. So why not target the people? Why not stop BAT from manufacturing tobacco products?
Well, I think that I do believe in free will.
Yeah.
So that if someone wants to, take this cancer stick, put it in their mouth, and set it to light, that's their free will.
Right.
I mean, they must have the choice to do that.
Right. Okay.
As long as they realise what damage it's doing to them.
Right. Okay.
So there's a trade-off here, I think, between what people can do if they're adults and responsible, understanding that this is damaging to their health, and also to everyone around them. I mean, second-hand smoke is as big a killer as the smoking itself.
It is indeed.
So
now coming back to your Harrow East,
Yes.
or East Harrow, what you call it.
Harrow East.
Harrow East. It's a mixture of various culture. It's really very vibrating place, lots of people from different ethnic minorities. People speak different languages. People follow different religions.
Yes.
And yet they are living in your area. Do you have to, I'm just thinking about what a politician has to do, to win the voters. You have to be really a good salesman to sell your ideas. But to sell your product or your ideas to people, do you have to understand their culture and
You
their
do,
language?
absolutely. I mean, one of the big advantages I have, you say it's a multicultural area. It is the most multicultural area. Other areas have a greater concentration of different people from all over the world. We have people literally from all over the world, every country on the planet, every faith, under the sun. We are a melting pot, and it's vibrant, it's great. And the great thing is everyone gets along. That's the really good news. As an MP, I have to have knowledge of literally what is going on in every country of the world, because people will approach me about where they originated from, and even if they didn't, their parents may have originated from there, and they'll have family back in the country. So you have to be right on your toes to know what is going on in particular places. And I hear about different parts of the world that I've never really studied, and so you have to be very, very sharp on it. Obviously, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, from the Indian subcontinent, are all quite predominant areas. But we literally have people from all over Europe, all over the rest of the world, and it's great. I mean, it's really good news. I've grown up in this area, so particularly for people of Indian origin, I've celebrated all the different festivals, be it Navratri, Diwali, Holi, Ramanavi, you name them. I've been there. I've been at the centre of helping and assisting the Hare Krishna temple from 1987 onwards to when they were up against it and people wanted to close them down. The Neasden temple in Brent, I was the instigator while I was leader of Brent Council to get them planning permission and make that the wonderful mandir it is. Just up the road from here, from these studios in Ealing Road, the wonderful mandir that is there. I when I was leader of the council, I sold that to the organisation, Sri Valadmidi, and got them planning permission, and then they built a wonderful temple there. And so I've been involved in all this. So it's nothing new for me. And I celebrate all these festivals, as you know, all the time. So it's and I just over the last 18 months, I've been to India 5 times.
Right. You must be knowing about all the sweets then.
I don't know. Oh, well, the sweets, Indian sweets are far too sweet.
Okay.
But my favourite food is curry. And I can tell you, I eat curry 3 times a week.
Wow. Okay, now there's something very important in terms of this coming elections. Why would people vote you?
Well, there's 3 reasons. One is that I will be supporting Theresa May and her team, not only in administering Brexit, but also improving the economy of this country. We have a proud record of employment and encouraging the position of the economy growing, building that strong economy. Secondly, on my track record, I have represented my constituency to the nth degree. I've got money for our schools. We've expanded all of our schools. I've encouraged and promoted a position whereby we've got the first state-sponsored Hindu primary school and the first state-sponsored secondary school in my constituency.
Right.
I'm promoting and supporting other faiths to get their schools as well. I've got a hospital rebuilt as a result of, after everyone promised money and didn't deliver, I've made sure we delivered and we're building it. So I've got a proud record of helping people right across the piece. And in the future, I want to continue that work, representing people in Parliament, making sure we get people to be the best they can be and they can aspire. I am a very big promoter of people aspiring to be better and therefore improving their lot. And that's why I think that people should support me and enable me to continue the work that I've been carrying on.
Right. What are your views, especially on college fees and university fees and health, and because you will have lots of young voters in your constituency, and the most worrying thing for the youth in these days is about the education.
Yes.
What are your views? I mean, what you're going to tell them?
Well, I think the first thing is that when I was elected in 2010, we had inherited a position of tuition fees and had to make a decision. We made that decision, and I think it was the right one in the end. It was a deal that was reasonable for young people, and I do think we haven't quite got to the position now, but young people are now consumers of education. They've got buying power because it's their money after all that is buying the position in a university. And instead of the university allowing them to go and admitting them, actually they are now customers to be served. Until we actually get to that point and people saying, well, hang on a minute, if I'm coming to your university, what are you going to do for me? What am I going to gain as a benefit? Because we're in a position now whereby 50% of young people go to university, which is good news, but I want them to have good careers after they leave university. And it's the key point is, in this election, who is best placed to ensure that we have a long-term economic plan that leads to a brighter new future? And it can only be us.
I mean, right now, the students who are currently in their universities or getting in the universities, they are afraid of leaving universities with a big loan.
But the thing is, they don't start paying any money until they've got a good job, earning at least £21,000. And they don't pay any more than our predecessors would have paid until they're earning £27,000. Now, that's the average salary in the UK. So from that perspective, my message to any young person who's considering going to university, go, get a good degree and get a good job afterwards.
Right. Bob, thank you very much. Finally, we got 30 seconds. What are you going to tell your voters through this television?
I would just appeal to you that I have a astonishing track record of helping people, assisting people in my constituency. I hope to continue that work on for the next 5 years, provided you have the confidence to place in me.
Bob Blackman, I wish you all the best. And ladies and gentlemen, first of all, again, sincere apologies for a very short program due to हेल्पफुल अनअवॉइडेबल सर्कमस्टांसेस। इसी के साथ राजनीति का ये प्रोग्राम आज समाप्त होता है। थैंक्स फॉर जॉइनिंग अस। नेक्स्ट वीक विल सी यू अगेन between 7 and 8 with another politician. Till then, take care. Good night. Namaskar.